Very happy Russie B tonight. Good afternoon, West Ham fans. Good afternoon, Happy Hammers. It's amazing what a 3-1 victory against Arsenal could do for your mental well-being. And isn't Twitter a lovely place today? Incredible, isn't it? It's Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. I did my player ratings earlier this afternoon to go back and check that out and disagree. Actually, probably won't disagree as much because everyone's in a happier mood today. But it's Hammers Headlines. Got a couple of stories, a couple of transfer rumours, and maybe grasping at straws, a silver lining for our draw against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup quarter-finals. But we'll get all to that in a minute. Let's start off with talking about some potential incomings in January. According to Team Talk, I didn't realize they were still going. West Ham have lined up an exciting move for the Celtic midfielder Matt O'Reilly in January. Apparently, Celtic will be demanding around £25 million for the 22-year-old, but they reckon that the Hammers have been eyeing up the talented midfielder for some time and will pounce when the winter window opens. I mean, he's a fantastically. I mean, his story's great. You know, he was born in. He's a London boy. His youth career was in Fulham. Then he went to MK Dons in 2021. Then he went to Celtic in January 2022, and he's proved to be a fantastic signing for the Hoops. So far this season already in 14 games, 6 goals and 4 assists, which ain't too shabby, Alonso, for a midfielder. He's a central midfielder by trade, but can play in a 10 or a deep line midfield role. So the type of versatility that someone like Moyes likes. And also, he puts a shift in. This lad puts a proper shift in. And I think we as the fans would love him. A bit Flynn Downsy, to be perfectly honest, but he's got a bit more in his locker in terms of going forward and a bit more energy going forward. I think it's wise looking for reinforcements now because there is still a question mark over the long-term future of Thomas Souček. James Ward-Prowse is 29. Happy birthday for yesterday, JOP. I'm sure you're watching. There's a question mark over Paqueta in the summer, you know, with the £85 million release clause already, you know, it will come into play in the summer unless he signs a new contract. We can get it taken out. So I think, you know, 25 million quid it's silly, it's crazy to think, but it doesn't seem a massive amount of money for someone who's performing that level, and he's 22, so plenty of years on his docket to, you know, to improve it and get better. Being the fact that he's a very hard-working midfielder as well, that type of you know energy levels is something that we know that someone like David Moyes looks for in his midfielders. So I think a January move for Matt would be a really interesting signing and a really good move, I think, for the club as well. You know, he's young, he's British as well, so he's got that homegrown quota, which again is useful because, you know, you got to think come the summer, you know, the likes of Cresswell will go. He's a homegrown player, and you know, we don't know what's happening with Divine yet in terms of whether he's going to sign a new contract. I was at the ground yesterday and exclusively revealed by the West Ham Network. Divine was in very deep conversation with Tim Steindon. Very deep conversation. He came off the team. I mean, he wasn't in the squad yesterday, but he came off the team bus and was in I reckon, about 25, 30-minute conversation with him. I'd seen him. And they were chatting, he was nodding, you know, so maybe Tim's having a word. He's having a word. But we'll see what happens with Matt. Let's see what happens with Matt. Let's talk about another player we've been linked to. Not that one, this one. The Santos striker, Marcos Leonardo. Now, it's someone that we were looking at, obviously, in the summer. If you remember, Tim Steiner went to Brazil to try and do like a last-minute deal to get him. But it didn't work. Didn't have enough time. But apparently we're going back in January for the Santos striker. A bit easier because the Brazilian league, I think, is on the calendar year. So they tend to, you know, be more open to leave in January when it's sort of their off season, so to speak. And yeah, he's done all right for Santos this year. I mean, there's a host of other clubs that are also interested in him. Newcastle, Fulham, Brentford, Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, Roma, Sporting, Lisbon. They've all been interested in the Brazilian under 20-year-old international. But as I said, we had positive talks with Santos and Leonardo's representatives early this year. So that's apparently put us in pole position to sign him. So far for 24 league appearances for Santos this year, and 13 goals. So not a bad return, and 2 assists as well. I think, we know we are in need of a clinical striker. Someone different to Antonio, someone who's not Danny Ings, and maybe Santos can be the man. He's not the most rapid player in the world. Someone did liken him to a young Danny Ings before when we were linked to him. But he's got the moves, and he's got the moves like Jagger. So you can imagine. And also it may appease someone like Paqueta potentially as well. Another Brazilian Magnifico in the squad potentially. But we'll see what happens in January. And let's talk about the game yesterday. Obviously, we had the euphoria of beating Arsenal, and then the inevitability that it was going to be a draw against another big six side in the next round. And surprise, surprise, we didn't get Port Vale, we didn't get Middlesbrough, we didn't even get Everton, we got Liverpool. Liverpool at home, or Anfield rather, which is probably the toughest draw we could have got. So we've got to do it the hard way. And potential of a semi-final opponent being either Middlesbrough or Port Vale as well, because that's one of them's going to be in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, probably Middlesbrough, and the return of Michael Carrick maybe to London Stadium, who knows. But there is a slight silver lining to the whole thing, and I appreciate I'm grasping at straws, but I thought I'd relay the thoughts. We know that obviously the tie's going to be played week commencing the 18th of December. Probably going to be, I reckon it's the 20th of December should be the Wednesday, because we both play in Europe on, and then you've got the Sunday game the week before. And so anyway, and I think it's probably that, if you look at it, it's slap bang in a period of 4 games in 9 days for both West Ham and Liverpool, but arguably it's probably the perfect time for us and probably the worst possible time for Liverpool based on their fixture list. So beforehand, we play Freiburg at home, which will be a tough game. But they play Liverpool. I think they travel to Belgium to play Royal Union Saint-Gilles, but they've already sort of practically by the net of what that could be a dead rubber match, to be honest. But regardless of that, Liverpool then play Man United on the Sunday, where we play Wolves at home at the same day. Arguably, more pressure on Klopp potentially. I know we should be beating Wolves really, but regardless, then we Liverpool travel. Then we travel to Anfield to play the game, probably on a Wednesday, I think. Tuesday will be too quick because it'll be a Sunday Tuesday, so it'll be a Sunday Wednesday. But then Klopp then plays Arsenal on the Saturday, where we play Man United, but we'll be under nothing like the pressure Klopp will be on to field their strongest team against Arsenal on the Saturday. So regardless, get results in those two. They'll need to get results in the Man United game and in the Arsenal game, so either side of the West Ham Cup sandwich match in the middle. So it's not, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but Liverpool may decide to go down the route that Arsenal did yesterday and put out a weakened side to start with. And by the time the likes of Saka, Martinelli, Rice, Odegaard, by the time these guys came on, it was too late. The game was won. So there is, potentially an opportunity if Klopp looks ahead to the fact of he's got Arsenal of the weekend. He's just played Man United at a few days beforehand, maybe a few injuries. Who knows? Clutching at straws, I appreciate, but I just wanted to bring you a little bit of silver silver lining, whatever it is. And that's it, my friends. Thank you very, very much for your time. Keep an eye on the channel. We'll have all the fun and the fair tomorrow in terms of the David Moyes press conference. We'll have the lunchtime lives. We'll have, then Saturday, we've got the Brentford game watch along. We'll have the Predicted 11 show, all that type of stuff. Until then, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, my friends, and come on, you bloody Irons.